Hi art teacher friends, I'm Mariana Vandermolen and I am a K-5 elementary art teacher in Santiago, Dominican Republic. In today's day in the life video, we are going to tour my classroom, finish up some Art City collages, and take a look at some of my organization systems. I also have process-based art projects that we have loved that I want to share with you. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to The Art of Ed for more day in the life videos just like this one.
Good morning, art teacher friends. It is 6:45 in the morning and I am ready to start my day. One of my favorite things to do every day is to pick out the earrings that I'm gonna wear with my outfit. So today I'm gonna wear these sort of turquoise ones with the black and white dots on them. And I have my morning routine down to 25 to 30 minutes. It is now 7:25 and I've just arrived at school. The first thing I always do is turn on the fans and open the windows. This is my classroom. I'm excited to highlight a few different areas for you later on today. Right now I am off to my specials team meeting, and then I roll right into 4th grade at 8:15. So I will check in soon. All right, it is 9 o'clock and I have just finished with 4th grade. I have an hour prep now, and then I have kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade back to back. A half hour for lunch, and then I finish my day with 3rd grade. Before I go and prepare the collage materials and get everything set up for my K-2 students, I wanted to share a little bit about what we are doing in 4th grade. For my 3rd through 5th grade, I use the Art of Ed's Flex curriculum to curate my units and lessons. Right now, my 4th graders are working on this paper parks project. The great thing about Flex curriculum is that it provides you with the lessons. So this is the first page of one of those lessons with the lesson objectives, teaching strategies, time it will take for the lesson, and a materials list. There's also step-by-step instructions for how to complete the project. But one of my favorite features of the Flex curriculum is that there's a whole resource library that will give you all of the supplemental materials that you would need to teach this lesson. So this paper, 3D paper technique handout is just an example of one of the supplements that the Flex curriculum library supplies, and it's really great because you can print it off and give copies to the students, or what I most often do is I will just pull up the handout like this on my projector and have it at the front of the room for students to reference if they need. And here's an example of how we adapted that paper parts lesson for our classroom. My students are studying architecture and different types of architecture. We watched the Art of Ed resource video about architecture, and then we have been creating different types of architecture out of paper, like this animal shelter that you see right here. All right, so it is almost time for my K-2 sprint, and I need to prepare all of these collage buckets for my students. There's All right, it is now 11:45. Normally, I would have 2nd grade in here right now, but they are on a field trip, so that gives me a little bit of extra time to share some highlights of my classroom with you and some organization tips. This is the wall at the front of my classroom, and there are a couple of things that I want to highlight. When we first talk about a vocab word in art, my students will race to find that word on our vocab wall, and then we will reference that word again and again throughout our lesson. I also have my student objectives posted at the front of the room so that my students can always reference these quickly and get themselves on track with what we are doing throughout the day. You'll notice that I'm using grade appropriate language in my learning targets according to the reading capabilities of each student. And I also highlight all of our vocabulary words so that they stand out for my students.
Another one of my favorite features in my art classroom are these rainbow stripes behind me, because rainbows, of course.
One of my biggest challenges in this art room is finding places for storage. So I have those 3 cabinets over there that I use to store a lot of 2D paint and paper materials. And then I also have this cubby for a whole bunch of collage materials. And there is a dry closet, damp closet that I'm using right now to store the 3rd and 4th grade architecture work. These are the only 2 places that I really have for storing student work. This closet works perfectly fine for storing my students' 2D flat drawings and such, but when it comes to the 3D work, it's really quite an issue. When it comes to 3D work though, I commandeer any and every available space, like this clay damp closet that I'm using for the 3rd and 4th grade paper parks projects. And I am using literally every available space for my 3D projects. I even had to commandeer some of the high school hallway space to store projects.
So student folders are a great way to promote autonomy and independence in the art room. This is one of the folders that I use for my 3rd through 5th grade students. It makes the start of art run super smoothly for us. Normally, the student's name would be on the front, and then this dot in the corner tells me which table this folder goes at. I color code absolutely everything in the art room. Makes my life so much easier. Students will come in, get their folders from their folder bins at their table, get out their sketchbooks, and start our drawing activity for the day. What's really nice about these folders is that it is a house for our sketchbooks, and then our in-progress work also goes in these folders. So it cuts out a lot of time of me having to divvy up artwork at the beginning of class. Every student is responsible to get out their art from their art folders and put their art back into their art folders. When they finish a work, then they'll turn it in, and at the end of the semester, the end of the year, I can put their artwork back in here and hand it back to them pretty easily. Here is one of my students' sketchbooks. We made these at the beginning of the year, spent time talking about line, reviewing the elements, and then this is filled with all of the drawing challenges that we have had this year. This semester, we have been working through a social emotional drawing challenge called Drawing with Mr. J. He is an art teacher from Ohio that does these 5-minute drawing videos that we have been using to process our emotions. Speaking of folders and organization, I am going to set up for my 3rd grade class, and I will check in a little bit. These are the supply bins that I use for my 3rd through 5th graders. They are, of course, color-coded, and they have any and every art supply that students might want to use. So it is a great way for them to independently decide what they want to use on their projects and have access to it right away. All right, it is 1:30 and I just sent 3rd grade out the door. I have enough time to do some quick tidying up before I head out to do an ELL push-in, which is also part of my job here at the school. I am ELL certified, and part of what I do here at the school is administer assessments to English language learners. So I'm gonna go do that, and then when I get back, I'll talk to you about some process art. For my kindergarten through 2nd grade this year, I have been using process-based art or intuitive/play-based art because I have found that it is really developmentally appropriate for my students. It's very engaging for them, it's fun for them, and it is a great way to foster creativity in them and just let them be kids, but also create art at the same time. This book is what I use to form the basis of most of my process-based art lessons in kindergarten through 2nd grade. It is by Mary Cherry. She is an artist and educator based in LA, and this book is full of a whole bunch of different process-based art projects that you can do in a studio, at home, or in a classroom, which is the way that I use it. A couple of the challenging things about process-based art, it really is set up for smaller class sizes. So my kindergarten and first grade classes are just 15 students, which is really wonderful. We get to do a lot more. I still use process-based art with my second graders, and those classes are the traditional 24 to 26 student classes. So we did a drawing section, we did a painting section, and we are just finishing up our collage section, which you saw. And next quarter, we're gonna jump into a sculpture section.
All right, so here is a close-up of some of these Art City projects that we have been working on. As you can see, we used a paper plate for the base and then some toilet paper rolls for the towers and a whole bunch of different collage material for the students to decorate it. One of the greatest things about this Art City project is that it really inspires creativity. I cannot tell you the stories that the students come up with about their projects, and it's really fun to hear how they are making artistic decisions for their art cities. And I have all of these glue bottles to fill after our collaging from earlier. One of my favorite things to do while I am doing some of these sort of mindless things around the art room is to listen to audiobooks or podcasts like The Art of Ed. The other day when I was filling these glue bottles, I actually got a blister right here on my finger, and I thought to myself, of course I would get a blister from opening glue bottles. That and the glitter on my face that you may have noticed in some of the videos, I guess, are just occupational hazards.
Thank you so much for joining me in my classroom today. I hope you enjoyed the classroom tour, the organization tips, and the process art projects that we took a look at.
It is now 3:30. All of the students have left for the day. I've put up my chairs and I am closing up the art room and headed home myself, where I will share one more important aspect of my life with you before I sign off.
I'm home now, and after I wash all of this glitter off of my face, I'll do my usual snack, nap, workout, post-school routine, and then I have a discussion post to write for my AOEU grad school course. I have absolutely loved my grad school experience with the Art of Ed. I always say that in my undergrad, I learned how to be an artist and I learned how to be an educator. And in my AOEU classes, I have learned how to be an art educator. I also really enjoy being connected to other teachers who are doing the exact same thing that I am and passionate about art just like me. I'm off to get started on my post-school routine so that I can get that discussion post written and turned in tonight before I go out with my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the classroom tour, the organization tips, and the process-based art projects that I shared. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to The Art of Ed for more day in the life videos just like this one. Bye!